Hello, it's Jurgis. Hopefully you guys are doing well. It's a hot day here in the Midwest. We're in August now. I try to get outside early morning to work in the gardens. We have some gardens going on, different locations. I find myself to be busy. This time of day, I need to come inside, clean up, check my email, check my plants inside. And when I checked my email, I had one from someone who had a question for me. And so sometimes you guys reach out to me because I understand that in many cases, Orthodox is not something that's common to people in their background. And so my own situation was I was raised in a Catholic family, non-practicing Catholic family, although I did go through christening and then on my first Holy Communion, and then I went through a confirmation. When I was 17, entered the Navy and went off to sea and was stationed in the Bible Belt, which at that time gave me some exposure to evangelical Protestantism, and I found that to be very attractive in terms of the personal connection to it. Pretty much ended up as a Reformed Protestant before I made a trip to Mount Athos, as some of you might have seen in my first video regarding Mount Athos. I went there as a Protestant. I have enjoyed interacting with you guys and the questions you have, because I think I have a different perspective that perhaps can be helpful, but I enjoy just learning your story and where you guys have come from. And so I've reached out to you after you've reached out to me, and we've connected, and it's been a blessing to me. And so I had an email this morning that I'll read to you, and I was going to respond, but I thought, this might be something that could be useful to others as well. And so, dear Jurgis, thank you for your videos on YouTube. You're welcome. Hopefully they're useful to you. I'm writing to you with the hope of asking for your advice. I've recently been trying to seriously consider a monastic vocation, and after speaking with a hieromonk, I was very much advised to learn a skill useful for a monastery. I'm 19 years old. I've spent some time doing more manual-focused or time-consuming work on a large garden farm, which I enjoyed, he says. But otherwise, I have no knowledge of gardening. How would you advise a total beginner to start learning gardening with the hope of being useful at a monastery? Perhaps regarding growing food or whatever is needed. Are there any books you would recommend? After watching your most recent video while at Holy Cross, it came to mind that asking you would be a good idea. Your prayers, yours in Christ, Alex. Well, Alex, thank you for reaching out to me again. I enjoy connecting, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to meet in the future. Don't know where you're from. I'm assuming you're in the United States, but that could be wrong. Well, the first thing that I would say to you is that you indicated you do have a little bit of experience farming, right? And working in the gardening, and then you said you enjoyed it. And I would say that if you've enjoyed gardening, then I think that is something you should seriously consider. I've shared in the past that I very much believe gardening is a natural occupation for those who are seeking spiritual blessings and maturity or growth. And I say that not to be, too lofty. Adam and Eve were meant to commune with God in the garden. God would walk in the garden, and he would commune with man in that place. We were with God. So it's only natural spiritually that there's something that says once we're in this kind of environment, there is some peace, there's something there. But also as we go through our struggles in this life, and we go through these spiritual battles and these other things that happen to us and that distract us from our walk, that the garden's also there. If we remember, of course, Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, right before he was about to be crucified, he went to the garden and he prayed intently to the point where blood came in the form of tears while he was praying that intently. And so it's a refuge in times of stress, anxiety, fear, battle. The garden is something that we can seek. And, as a child, I remember being interested in gardening. As I became a young man, I entered the Navy when I was 17 and stayed in the military for 10 years. A little aside here. I kind of realized that gardening was really special to me because I happened to be in an occupation or a place that couldn't be removed any further from the garden. Part of my time in the Navy was spent on submarines. And to be underwater, can't imagine being further removed from gardening. I realized it was a struggle. It wasn't meant to be underwater in a metal tube, but I was blessed through that experience. But also when I came back to land, the connection to me was just so mighty, not just being land, but my appreciation for the garden. I just intensified. And so God blessed that experience to allow me to even grow closer to it. And so throughout my entire life, I've been very much interested in gardening. Again, it's a place where I can go and I can pray. I can seek refuge. In addition, it's a place where I think that Jesus' prayer is something you can do very easily as you garden. You asked about any books. Well, I would say that you've found me on YouTube, and I would say that YouTube has a lot of resources to you. And a important resource that I think would be useful would be Gardener's World on BBC. The host of these shows is Monty Don. And he also has a book that's pretty hefty called, I think it's called The Complete Gardener by Monty Don. And in that would be a really good overview of gardening. And I say, those are some things that I would encourage you to do, but also I would encourage you to sow seeds, teach you patience. Seeds teach you a process. Seeds teach you there's a way in which sometimes you just overstep something or you fail to do something you should have done. Gardening provides an opportunity to teach us humility. And I say humility because not just because the plants, you're learning to nurture and to grow something, but also humility because in the world in which we live, gardening is not an occupation. Alpha males would say, it's something that you should pursue. The purpose is your job, your status, your promotion, where you live, the zip code, the car you drive, all these things. And so to have an interest in gardening not only teaches you about nurturing, caring for something, learning as something else grows and learning from your mistakes, but also how to deal with when people have a certain expectation of you and you were to say, I'm a gardener. Of course, I have a channel called Orthodox Gardener, but I do other things as well in terms of what my profession would be. But for all practical purposes, the most important thing in my life in terms of spiritual and my pursuit of growing closer to God and helping my spiritual life is to be a gardener. So there was a quote from a writer, a professor, a theologian, but also a gardener. And he said this, his name is Vegan Gorian. He says, I think gardening is nearer to godliness than theology. True gardeners are both iconographers and theologians, insofar as these activities are the fruit of prayer without ceasing. Likewise, true gardeners never cease to garden, not even in their sleep, because gardening is not just something they do, it is how they live. I would say that to pursue gardening is truly to pursue something that's deep. And so I guess I say that part of the monastic community is, of course, if they can grow food to help feed, but also a place of peace and rest and prayer is important as well. So you're a young man, you have lots of choices. I would pray, I would visit as many monasteries as you can, talk to the fathers, because of course I'm not a monastic, but I've been blessed through the practice of gardening, and I hope you become blessed as well, and that God blesses you as you continue your journey. I hope you're able to stay cool as we finish out the what has been an unusually warm summer, and we'll talk to you on the next Orthodox Gardener.